We're live.
All right. Hey everybody, thank you so much for clicking this video. As you can tell, I'm in a very, very unique and special place. I'm not in my home studio. I am at the almighty Tone King's house. Thank you so much for having me today,
How
sir.
are you? Thank you for being here.
Hey, my pleasure. So, real quick, what we're doing today is cheers, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. What we're doing today is actually, Lewis invited me to his house to do an air fryer unboxing.
Cook chicken wings.
Yeah. We're gonna be having some nice good food here on Friday night. Just a little bit of hangout, and then we're doing a live stream tonight at 10 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be all on YouTube by the time this is edited. So I'll put a card and a link in the description of that live stream in this video. But today I just want to do a little bit of a conversation interview with the Tone King and just get to know him a little bit, rack his brain a little bit. You know what I mean?
There you go. Awesome.
All right. So starting off, I would just like to ask you, how did this come about? Like, what was the infancy of you getting into the guitars or rock and roll? You know, how did it come about?
YouTube or music?
Music. We'll start with music, and then we'll get to the YouTube side of things.
Well, I was born in 73. So at 83, when I was 10 years old, which is I think probably when most kids start to embrace music.
Yeah, I was 11, so yeah.
Yeah, that is, there was exciting music at the time.
Yeah.
It was, Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast videos, MTV.
Yeah.
You got to the visual of the rock star, the outfits, the guitars, incredible, like, heavy music.
Right.
Judas Priest, all that. Early 80s metal was a little bit different than late 80s metal because it kind of morphed into glam band. It was more heavy metal in the early 80s.
Yeah, it was more of metal as we think of it,
Yes.
and then it became more of like a commercial, like Poison.
Yes, correct.
Poppy.
So this is like pre-Poison.
Yeah.
I loved the music. I was enamored by what I saw because, again, MTV, it's funny, we were just talking upstairs about MTV.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
But that really helped paint the picture of it's the music video helped paint the picture of the music. It gave you a visual, literally, right? And I was enamored by it, and I wanted a guitar. And a buddy of mine played the electric guitar, and he and I became friends. And he would teach me because he had a Hondo.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that brand is.
A Hondo is equivalent of what's your low budget guitar today? Low budget.
Low budget. I mean, like a first act type of deal.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it was the first act of guitars.
All right, I can relate to that.
And he had a little PV amp, and my parents, or I should say Santa Claus, got me a Flying V guitar with a little amplifier.
Right.
And I just stuck with it. It's something I always enjoyed, through my from 10 on. And then in high school, I joined some bands and did Battle of the Bands. And then I was in some bigger bands, late, like senior year of high school, early years of college. And that was a lot of fun. And then, of course, you got married and had kids and had a job, but I stayed with it.
Yeah. Okay. And so then, flash forward to 2006, you put up your first YouTube channel. I think it was like December 3rd, 2006.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
You did your homework.
I did.
Nice.
Hey, but yeah, so what made you want to turn on the camera and do a martial shootout?
I don't know if I ever told anyone this, so I'll tell you this.
Okay.
Maybe it would be good for your channel to hear something that hasn't been out there.
Yeah.
I was sitting at a trade show. I'm in the technology sector. That's what I do for a living.
Okay.
Feeds my kids.
Right.
And I was at a trade show with a buddy of mine, and he told me about this new thing called YouTube.
Okay.
And I never heard of it.
Right.
I literally registered for YouTube at the trade show. We were like sitting behind one of these booths, right?
So sitting down at a computer that was there.
Yeah.
You just signed up right there on the
Signed
spot.
up right there. Which is different today because a lot of people sign up for YouTube to be YouTubers. This was pre-YouTuber. There was no such thing as a YouTuber.
Yeah.
It was just a site that people could upload cat videos to.
Right.
Now, to connect the dots, for those of you that remember, when you used to go to a manufacturer's website, they used to have sound samples. Oh, if you want to hear this pickup or this guitar or this amp, you'd have, here's the clean, with the little play button. Here's the clean, here's the rock, here's the metal.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. But that's how companies used to let people know what their gear sounded like. It was all sound samples. I was a collector. I've always been a collector because, you know, anyone that buys a guitar, I guess, is a collector.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I could make a little video of what my gear sounds like. That was the whole purpose. It wasn't to be, again, the whole, you're a YouTuber.
It was for yourself in a way.
It was for myself.
Yeah.
And you literally upload it like Dropboxes for yourself or that type of thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, you can make it public and share that with people. And people started liking and commenting and, you know, seeing, like today, I think a lot of people get into YouTube. They know they want the likes, they want the shares, they want all that. I didn't even know what that was. I was just putting videos up of my own stuff. But when, you know, it starts to feed itself, when people are like, oh, that's cool. Do you have this or do you have that? Or could you do this? Now you're starting to cater to the requests that come in.
But that's not all bad. But
no.
It's like it gets your head spinning.
Makes it more exciting.
Yeah, it like makes it more like that frenetic energy of like,
Right.
you know, people are asking for, let's say, a dual rectifier as an example. You know, pretty common. But when people are asking for that, if you don't have it, you want to go after that and then upload it and then, you know, constantly keep, you know, giving the people what they want. And then for yourself, having those points of references of this is what my gear sounds like. So it sounds like YouTube for you was like almost an accident in a way. The infancy of what it was almost an accident.
It was an accident. Yeah. It was just I was interested. I had some gear, and someone told me about the site, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And my little camera had like a little movie switch.
Yeah.
So you could take the card or plug the camera into the computer and just upload it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah. So then what was the turning point of from, hey, I'm just kind of doing this for myself to I guess, you know, where you are now? Like, at what point was it almost, I mean, this is like a part-time job for you. This is your number one passion, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it is.
So like at one point in time was it like no longer just, oh, this is kind of cool doing it for myself to like, hey, I'm the Tone King, I'm running a business. Like what happened or what was the turning point?
Yeah, there was probably a couple of things that happened. So in no particular order. Okay. You know, the channel was growing, and people were asking for things. Here's something else I'll share with you that I don't know if I said this to anybody, but a long time ago, I bought a guitar from Ed Roman.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And on my credit card statement, it said the Guitar King. It didn't say Ed Roman's Guitars. It said the Guitar King. And it was kind of cocky in a way. Yeah. But I was like, I like that. That was, you know, that's kind of...
Very bold statement.
Very bold statement. Yeah. And I was thinking of the name for the website. Right. And I took the Guitar King, because again, I thought that was, you know, a bold statement. Yeah. And the Tone King was available. So I bought the Tone King.
There you go.
So that's how the website came, and it was again inspired by the Guitar King on my credit card statement. But I wanted something more generic, and Tone is about as generic as it comes for whether it be a guitar amp or pedal. It's all about, you know,
just music in
just
general.
Music and you know, chasing great tone. Now, with that said, the reason why I started the website was because I wanted to get some sponsorship. So when people are asking you for things, it's nice to start creating relationships with people, but I needed a way to fund it. And today, you know, money comes into YouTubers in a lot of different ways. That's a whole video unto itself. Yeah. But back then, if you asked a company to sponsor a video, that was like, no, we don't, because remember, companies only dealt with magazines. And you had editorial and you had advertising, and there was like a moat, you know, between, like, they didn't talk. Yeah. So anything that had anything to do with like a review or content, they didn't pay for it. So what's interesting was I created the website, which I put good content on. I still continue to put good content on the website. And then I would ask a manufacturer, hey, would you like to sponsor the site? And they're like, sure, we'd love to. Because now it's speaking a language that it's legacy media that they understood. It's like the internet, the Tone King, for example. That platform is the magazine of today. There are no more magazines anymore. I mean, it's like a mini Guitar World online or a mini Premier Guitar online. Absolutely. Because I put independent content on that site, and that allowed me to help grow the channel. I mean, once upon a time, like when all those the Black Heart and all the mini amps came out. I bought them all out of pocket.
Yeah.
Because remember, this was early. I didn't have the relationships.
Yeah.
So if I wanted content, I bought it. And as we know, money doesn't grow on trees. So I had the website. So when I started talking to companies and started asking for sponsorship dollars towards like creative content, as soon as they heard video, everybody was like a resounding no.
Yeah.
But now, so I tried to architect something that was more comfortable for a company to sponsor something, and that was the birth of the website.
Okay.
And today, as you know, I mean, companies and content creators or YouTubers, I mean, there's a million different ways. Maybe a million is a high number, but, figuratively speaking.
Right.
I think companies today are more willing to be creative. Right, so hey, I'm doing this event. Would you like to sponsor it? Sure. Hey, I'm doing a video series. Would you like to sponsor it? Sure. So the website, and I'm very thankful that the website continues to do well, and I'm very thankful for those sponsors that continue to support the website. But it's like really the website and the channel are really kind of two separate things. Like a traditional magazine, you have your editorial and your media section,
right?
And I'm happy with how it all turned out.
Absolutely. To touch on something you just talked about. Did you feel any pressure buying things out of pocket? Like, did you feel the pressure either from yourself or from the people that were asking for it to constantly get the views, get the content, get the things out there? Like, was there a pressure, or was it just like enjoying the ride and then you fell into a business? Like, was it ever difficult to constantly like put out good content for people?
It's an interesting question. It's funny, sometimes I talk to my wife and I tell my wife, you remember the old days when Friday would roll around and I would, because I didn't have the basement at my old house, and I would set everything up. I'd set up some lights and amps and microphones in my like living room downstairs.
Yeah.
And then I would record video all Friday. I'd stay up till like 5. Literally, I'd work all night, like a night job, doing video. And then I'd sleep all day. And then I'd do it all again Saturday night. And I'd tee up maybe 3 or 4 or 5 videos, whatever it was. And then I would release them. So yeah, I think I definitely felt pressure to put content out.
I think so. If you're staying up all night.
Yeah.
But that seems like that pressure drove you to succeed and to reach certainly where you are now.
Here's something I talk about, and I'm happy to talk about this here, outside of YouTube and outside of the Tone King.
Right.
It's a thing called ambition. Some people are born with it, and some people aren't. Mm-hmm. And ambition isn't really something you could train someone to do or want to do. Yeah. It's like if you're ambitious and you want something, you're going to do something. If you're ambitious and, it's like what, some people are lazy. And some people are determined. I've always been determined. I've always been very ambitious. So if I feel like if I latch onto something, I want to take that as far as I could take it. I don't know why I'm like that. It's not like anyone trained me to be ambitious.
Built that way.
It's just the way I am. And don't get me wrong, I'm lazy with some things, but when it comes to the stuff that I like, I am very ambitious. When it comes to a home repair, I'm very lazy.
Cutting the grass.
Right. So, But and I think that's probably true for everybody. There are certain things we're all ambitious about, and there are some things we're not. And when it comes to guitars and gear and making, like I just played you a song earlier.
Yes.
Sneak
preview.
Yeah, sneak preview of my third single. And the only thing I could explain that is I'm ambitious. I want to do that. I want to share that with people.
Yeah.
It's not like a job. It's not like I did get some sponsorship dollars to pay the people that were involved in it, but I'm certainly not feeding my kids or paying my mortgage with the sponsorship dollars that helped me make that music. So someone could argue, then why are you doing it?
Because you love it.
Because I love it. Because I'm ambitious and I want to make something awesome.
Yeah, make something have like, at the end of the day, like when you release a song, release a video, like that's there forever in theory.
Yeah.
And like you can sit back at the end of the day and be like, I made that. Like that was hard work. And
When you think about a legacy, you're right. You know, someday, I mean, you know, time goes in one direction, right?
Right.
Someday I could look back and say, you know what, I did my part, I contributed, right? And,
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, people should contribute, whatever that is. If you're helping people in a church or school or in your community, whatever it is. I genuinely feel like I contribute to the guitar community, and someday when I can't do this anymore for whatever the reason, maybe I get too old, maybe someday I grow to be too lazy, or you know, whatever, I just don't have the means or the interest or energy or whatever it is to do it anymore, I could look back and say, I did my part. I contributed to, you know, this community that we love.
Well, I can certainly attest to that. I mean, if, you know, God forbid, but if the Tone King ended today, you hung up the cleats and retired today, you can certainly sit back and say, I did it in a very classy and respectful way. And, you know, I think everybody certainly thanks you for that.
Yep. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
No worries.
And hopefully that day never comes. I always tell my wife, when I'm retired from the day job, this is the job I'll continue to do.
This is when the Tone King will thrive even more once that day job's gone.
Well, that's one of my biggest obstacles is I do this in my free time.
Yeah. Which sorry to cut you off, it brings me into my next point. I don't want to forget it, is I get asked this question a lot, and you know, I would like to ask you how you do it. Is how do you manage, you know, your family life, your real work life, and your passion, that is the Tone King, and your YouTube channel? Like, how do you find the time, the energy? You know, we kind of touched on it, the drive and ambition, but there's got to be more to it in a way.
Well, it's real simple. You have to prioritize. Family comes first. So as long as and I'm lucky, man. You know, my wife is a wonderful woman. You got to meet her, and
yes, absolutely.
You know, she's a stay-at-home mom, so she could take care of the kids while I'm working or doing whatever it is that I'm doing. So I'm very lucky that I have a support network that keeps this family going, which I'm very lucky and thankful for.
You and me both. Yes.
So you know, my wife supports doing this, but family first, right?
Yes.
The second thing is I have a job, and the job feeds my kids and pays the mortgage. And the reality is that comes second.
Yeah.
Because without that, I wouldn't have this.
Right.
Right.
You need support and finances for
Absolutely.
this.
And then after all that is settled, then I come do this. Meaning at Friday night when the bell rings, right?
Yeah.
It's like Tone King time, right? You know, Miller time, it's Tone King time, right?
Absolutely.
And listen, I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes I'm dragging. Sometimes, no joke, I'm laying in bed. I'm like, end of the day. I was just traveling, and I tell my wife, I'm like, tell me to go do a video. And she's like, go do a video. I'm like, but I don't want to do a video. Tell me why I should do a video. She was like, because you love it. I'm like,
how can you argue that?
I get out of bed. I drag myself down here and, you know, have a couple of, you know, caffeinated beverages, and you just get the camera rolling. And one of the things that really helps me is a live show, because when you start interacting,
and you see that you see that feed, and
that's right.
It's not a camera. You're not awkwardly talking to nobody.
I know, and it gets lonely down here, man. I'm not gonna lie. You know,
I know it.
When you're at the end of the day, or you know, after a long week, and you just have to talk to a camera, that's hard sometimes.
It is. You have to. You know, I know you're a genuine person, and you know you are who you are on camera, but there is still some sort of, not necessarily an act, but you do have to put that persona on. You know, working all day.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you're human. You don't want to sit here and say, today on the Tone King.
Right.
You know, it's work, man. But you know, you love it, like you said. So
you know, it's funny you said persona. It's a little bit of branding. It's a little bit of a shtick. Like, I always start off with one of those.
Yeah,
right?
I stay metal. I mean, what does that mean?
Right,
what does that mean? Nothing.
So you have your built-in branding.
Yeah.
I think I'm the same person on camera that I am off camera.
Absolutely, I'm not discrediting that.
I do keep one of the main differences between on camera and off camera. Off camera, I get a little bit more colorful in terms of how I may explain something.
Your language.
Yeah, but I keep it clean for the camera.
Yeah.
I'll share something. A long time ago, many years ago, probably 2006, 2007. I was a little colorful on one of my cameras, and someone wrote me a letter and said, you know, the kid watches it, and it took one ask. One guy, you know, told me to clean it up, and I did, and I've kept it clean ever since. Because
awesome.
I recognize that, you know, there is lots of people watching. It could be kids, it could be adults, it could be, you know, people that talk like me, people that don't. So I just try to keep it clean for everybody.
keep it neutral, and like I said before, keep it classy and respectful.
That's right.
That's something I think you hold yourself to that.
My opinions aren't always classy and respectful. The camera's not rolling, but
I just want to say last question.
Sure.
Before we get out of here, it's just I get this question, and I'm sure you do too. It's just like, just any advice from now that you've done this for what 13 years now,
something like that.
I mean, it's the game's certainly changed, and just at this day and age, if you had any sort of advice, just anything, what would it be to somebody that's starting a channel or just, up and coming?
I would say do it because you love it. I'll be frank, you don't. I know it's very deceiving to be like, you have the wall of amps behind you, and you're like, here's a guy saying he doesn't make much, but look at what he has. I'm the anomaly. Like, the guys that have been doing it for a long time, we've collected gear, we've been given gear, we have like crazy discounts on gear. We're the anomaly. We're not the average person, right? I've had an opportunity to pick up some stuff and get some stuff, and over a long period of time.
Yeah.
So with that said, it's not lucrative. I mean, unless you're at 1 million subscribers, which I'm not, it's not a very lucrative job, right? Which means you'll need to do a lot of different things. But you got, like any job, they say if you're happy doing what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. So you genuinely have to want to do this job.
Yeah.
And if you've already established that this is your passion and this is what you want to do, you really need to, that's the first piece of advice, is do it because you love it, not because you just want to, hey, I want to hit 1 million subscribers and make $1 million.
It'll take 6 months.
If it was easy, I'd have 1 million subscribers, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's not easy. So the second part of that is, if you do get to a point where you have an established channel, you want to grow that channel, you want to think of ways in which you can grow that. And it's not just Google AdSense. It's Google AdSense. It's having different events and participating in trade shows to get your brand out. It's having, like for me, it's having a website. It's joining affiliate programs. Like, you want all these different revenue streams to come in to help the channel grow.
Yes.
Like you said, it's a business, and any business, you want to grow their business. So sell T-shirts. I have a girl that does my art, and she's wonderful, right? So hop on Teespring and sell T-shirts. Sign up for Amazon affiliate. Sign up for Commission Junction. Sign up for all these different things. So if somebody does click on something, you get a small commission for that. If you recommend it, hey, I love this microphone, and someone goes and buys it, maybe you'll get a couple of percentage points from that purchase.
And it's not a lot of money, but for every click with all your different avenues, that just funnels into sustaining your passion.
So determine if it's what you really want to do, and do it because you love doing it. And then once you've established that and have grown it a little bit, just think beyond the video. The way I've always explained this is, the video is the sun, but there's so much that revolves around that sun that keeps it going.
It's deep.
Yeah, that's the truth,
true.
though.
It is really true.
The truth. It's the sun has always been the videos, but there's so much going around that. For instance, I hire writers that write for the site. I hire art gals, an art gal that does all my artwork. I'm doing my single. I'm working with Kyle from Gearing Up on the production of that. So have all these different things that are going. Some I'm spending money on, some I'm making money on. And it becomes this little business that, and at the end of the day, or the end of the week, or the month, or the year, the quarter, whatever it might be, you always want to be a little ahead.
Yeah. You always want to be in the green.
That's right. That's right.
But one thing you just touched on there is just like, whether you're spending or making, or you're at the end of the day, you're networking. You're getting your name out there. You're getting the Tone King out there. So it's just, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you're saying just put stuff out there, quality stuff, but put stuff out there and just reach out to people and just like spiderweb out to everybody and make a name for yourself.
So here's a true, yes, is the short answer. Here's a true story. When I got started, I did what people do not do today. I picked the companies that I was very passionate about, and I wrote to them. So BC Rich was one of those companies. I wrote a letter to BC Rich. I told them who I am. I told them about what I'm doing, and I asked them if they'd like to, work with me. And they replied. And I sent about 10 letters, and I got a reply to one. And that's when I realized, hey, I need to send out 10 letters to get a reply from someone. I did the old-fashioned hard work of writing letters to different companies that I wanted to work with.
Yeah.
Today it's a little different. It's like, hey, who do you know over there? Can you give me his email address so I could ask him for one too?
What's his Instagram?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just different today. But you know what? I honestly believe that, it's the power of the letter, right? If you want to work with someone, first of all, you shouldn't be working with anybody that you're not passionate about, right? Yeah. And once you pick your targets, you know what? Pick up a pen and paper and write a letter or write an email and let them know who you are. But the whole is as important networking is, sometimes it's nice to do it the old-fashioned way and just send a letter to somebody of power to, hey, this is who I am, this is my brand, this is what I'd like to do. Are you interested? And you'd be surprised, I think, that especially a lot of times the people in position of power would appreciate a letter.
It's much more respectful when it's that human element
Yes.
with like even an email. I mean, nobody really does handwritten letters anymore, but like a specific like directed at Mr. or Mrs. So and so. That's still a personal email as opposed to like I said, like a direct message on Instagram. Hey man, I want your guitar. Send me one. You know what I mean? Like who's gonna want to work at that? But if you respectfully say, hey, my name is blah blah
That's
blah.
right.
I really like your company. I'm very passionate about this, and like. I correct me if I'm wrong, but if you do like your research beforehand,
Absolutely,
it's a huge shot in the arm for you because it shows the company or the YouTuber or the business whatever that you know about them, and you're not just like asking for like a free handout. You're not like just like trying to like grab anybody.
Well, something that not everyone understands is when you work with a company, the question is what could you do for them?
Yeah,
That's like an employee. You're there for the employer,
right?
Not the other way around.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to a manufacturer, as an example, I'll use BC Rich back in the day. I love BC Rich, right? It's a fact, right? Here's some things I could do that could help BC Rich. Is this something you'd be interested in? And they're like, we'd love to. Yes, we're very interested in that.
Yeah.
And, what will it take to do that? And you know what? That's another trick I just gave you. What will it take to do it? It's not like, here's my fee.
Yeah.
Right? It's, when you're collaborating, it's... compensation comes in all different forms. I mean, I've done agreements where, hey, let's just promote each other, right? It's just I promote you.
Just like a handshake.
What we're doing right now, right? Come on over, hang out, and you're on my channel, I'm on your channel, and it's beneficial for both of us. I've done stuff where it's like, hey, cover my cost. Right, they want, hey, come on out to our factory. It's going to cost me $300. You think you could, no problem. We'll cover the cost, right? Then there's something where, hey, we have a very targeted campaign and we want to do X, Y, and Z. We want it to do our way. Well, maybe that costs a little bit more, that type of thing. So always be open to an arrangement. In fact, a couple of times I've worked with companies and they're like, show me your line card. I'm like, there's no line card.
Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish? Let's put something together because any arrangement should be a win-win for both parties.
Yeah, it should like if you like set like I need $500 to show up at you're pigeonholing yourself and like there's nobody's gonna work with that.
Be open-minded and just figure out along the way how can they benefit and how could you benefit and how could both people how could you make it mutually beneficial for both of you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I sincerely want to thank you for inviting me to the Tone Lounge. It's really sincerely appreciate it. Guys, that's going to do it for me for this video. Subscribe to the Tone King if you have not already.
Stay metal, Ray.
Stay metal, guys. I'll see you guys next time.
Later.